Hey guys, good afternoon. So today is Tuesday, I believe it's the 18th. This is my midday, and a few good things happened today that I wanted to share with you guys already. Um, this journey's been crazy. Just the blessings I've had and some of the people I've gotten to run across. So before I forget, because I've been kind of mucking this up a little bit. As most of you have heard, I've had some apprehension about getting through the desert here. I've got a few days coming up where it's going to be a lot of nothing in between. And some people through this journey have become dear friends, and some actually are actually looking out for me well beyond anything I'm capable of doing. And one of those guys is Jim, and I mentioned him I think yesterday, Jim Newmeister. Well, he had contacted, and I don't know how this came to be. I don't know if the gentleman contacted him, he knew the gentleman, I don't know, but Brad Sayer contacted me, and is I'm not sure he's the owner or the manager of Outdoor Equipment Rentals in New York, and he contacted us, and basically has this Garmin device, which is a GPS. It's almost an emergency transponder, I guess is how I would describe it. And the advantage, the peace of mind that it gives me is it's got kind of an SOS button attached to it, that if I get into any real trouble or danger, it sends out a signal, and people know exactly where I'm at. I guess a lot of outdoorsmen carry something like this if they're hiking and falling down a cliff, or they're hunting, or things of that nature. In addition, what's really cool about it is I guess it comes with its own little personal website, and I have to get some more detail about this, but if I share the website with you, people can kind of follow and track my ping and things like that. Now, I don't want the general public necessarily be privy to all that, but certainly my kids and my family, letting them know daddy's safe at night and things, and that might be fun for them to track. So I really am so gracious, because I really was apprehensive about kind of being out there. And as you saw today, if you follow my post, I ran across I didn't actually run across him, he was already there, but a dead rattlesnake. And I know we talk about the desert, but this is a real thing out here. It's, back east, you hear about them, but you don't really, but as you're walking, and I'm actually walking today looking, and you hear so many noises coming from the grass. I've seen snakes on my way back east in Ohio and things, but I haven't seen any out here yet. But it's a real thing, especially if I'm going to be, sleeping out here. So, the possibility, while very, very small, of being bit, it just gives me a little peace of mind to know I can press a button and have that SOS go out. So, and I think I kind of jumped on the website a little bit. They do some fascinating stuff. Like I never thought of a GoPro. I know back east when I met Andrea and her sister, they thought, her sister thought I was going to kind of have a GoPro and take you guys on a live video feed everywhere I went, whatever I did. That would been a bit much, I assume, but I never did a GoPro thing, but that might be kind of a cool idea too. Is not necessarily to watch me just walk down a highway. That's not very exciting. But if there's anything pops up, just in my own personal life with the kids someday, I never did a GoPro. I don't know what they cost, but you can rent them, I think, from Brad. So let me give you some information. I want to recognize him. Please, if you care about me, reach out to him on Facebook, give him a like, and just send him an email and say thanks for looking out for Jim, because I know a lot of you do care about me, and I never met him before, but he cared enough about the journey and was so supportive. So on Facebook, he's at Outdoor Equipment Rentals. I guess it's facebook.com/Outdoor Equipment Rentals, and his website is www.oerentals.com. So again, please, for me, if you only have a few seconds or a few minutes, find his website or his Facebook, and just thank him on my behalf, so we could show the gratitude of not just me, but the PTT family. That'd mean the world to me. So, because again, these people are showing me kindness and humanity that I could never have imagined. So the peace of mind that I'll give myself and my family is really important to me. So thank you, Brad. Much love, bud. Much love. Anyway, so to tell you a little bit more about today, I actually got past my targeted goal already of which was going to be about 6:30 tonight, which was going to be a town called Eric, Ohio, or Eric, Oklahoma. Let me get this right. Good God, Jim. Eric, Oklahoma, and I've actually crossed the border into Texas. Well, how did that come to be? This is there's something very small but very meaningful to me. So I met a gentleman today as I was walking down the highway. uh, essentially a trucker pulled over and offered me a lift. And on one hand, he's like, look, I could take you as far as Albuquerque. And there's a part of me for a minute, I was like, ooh, that would save me a whole lot of walking out here. But you know, that's not what the journey is about. As much as that's humanity, you know, it was great to have him reach out. But it got me into the early part of Texas here, up towards Shamrock, and saved me probably about 20 miles on my legs. And I'll be off tomorrow. So not quite sure what the night holds yet. I still got some walking to do to find a place. I actually hopefully can find myself a laundromat, because I have at least a couple of days of clothes to wash, and then if I'm going to do another day or two out in the middle of nowhere before I get to Amarillo, I'm really going to be stretching it pretty thin. So hopefully I can find a laundromat in town. That'd be great. But I think what I really want to share was Freddy and how it came to be. And you know, whenever anybody offers me, you know, a lift, I usually say, can get me up to the next mini mart, which is what we did here. Fortunately, from the next mini mart was about 20 miles up the road. In this case, we had lunch, and I got to talk with him a little bit and share some of what I'm doing, but more so learn about him. And I thought a couple of fascinating things. So first of all is how I even came to meet him. As I was walking, you know, I try to time myself and get out ahead of myself, and up in the distance I had seen a semi pulled over, but you see that not frequently, but you see it, you know, enough. Getting service calls. In fact, I saw one yesterday, getting a service call on tires, and in fact I walked up to the guy and said, you know, can I give you a hand? You need a hand with anything? Figured it'd probably be a pretty cool story. I get to meet some people. He's like, no, I got it, but we talked a little bit, and I gave him my card. But apparently Freddie had pulled over specifically to offer me a ride, but you know, he had to do so a little bit up. Actually, there was a weigh station nearby, and he didn't want to pull too close to them in case they started to think he had something wrong and wanted to come, you know, weigh him, check his papers or whatever. But anyway, but my point is that he basically waited about 20 minutes, which is about a mile or so, for me to get up to him. So, you know, he didn't have to do that. He's got deadlines and things to do, and my stuff's blowing away. It's breezy out here in Texas and western Oklahoma. Anyway, so that was the first part I thought was just so very cool. That here's this guy that's got a schedule, doesn't know me from Adam, and sat there and waited, you know, 20 minutes of his life just to have me catch up to offer me a ride. So that was just that part right there alone is a gesture that surprised me, and I was really overwhelmed by. And then the Memphis Cyclones bus just drove by. I don't know who the Memphis Cyclones are or what kind of team, but they just have a very cool bus that just went by. Anyway, we got to talking, and I honestly had never been an 18-wheeler before, but I always kind of, in one way, said, you know, what a good life not a good life, it's a tough life, but there's something to be said about just being on the road and the open highway. I love to drive, and the other part of me would say maybe someday I'll try to open up a trucking company and whatnot. And I talked a little bit about just the business and the life. He lives up in Northern California. His wife is actually staying back east with family because of a medical situation with a family member. She's back out in Philly. So, you know, he's on the road a lot. That's what these guys do. And talking to him about things, nowadays they have these electronic logs. Obviously, these trucks can be very dangerous. And back in the day, they have the DOT monitors these guys pretty carefully in terms of equipment, making sure it's safe for over-the-road use, and their hours, because a tired driver is a very dangerous situation. In fact, I think it was Tracy Morgan who was driving in his tour bus that got rear-ended by, I think it was a driver for Walmart that might have been, you know, sleepy. So we all know that I know I've driven tired before in a car, and it could be certainly not a pleasant situation for others around me or me. Certainly these trucks can be killing machines. So he was educating me on the electronic logs. Back in the day with paper logs, you know, drivers got paid for the mileage, so they had some flexibility to kind of fudge them a little bit, and you'd have drivers out there for, you know, 12, 14, 15 hours, 16 hours, you know, awake, sleep quick, and then jump back out there because time was money to them. Well, now with the electronic logs and the DOT, they really have stepped it up. I think it's one thing that we need to recognize that our government has done is the DOT technology has really helped them to monitor these guys hours, and as much as it costs them a little bit of money, as Freddie said, the safety issue is far, far greater, and he's glad they have him. But as I said at least 3 times in my journey, truckers are probably one of the most underappreciated professions out there. If it's on a shelf, if you buy it through the mail, it comes from a trucker. It's just that simple. And yet on the highway, people tend to, look at these guys as I'm not sure what the word is I'm looking for right now, but pest nuisances. Sometimes I want to get around them and the guy's blocking my way and get the heck out of the way. And we kind of take for granted what these guys do. First of all, just in the job function of bringing the stuff to us and put it on the shelf. Secondly, what they give up. I mean, they give up seeing their family sometimes for weeks at a time as they're over the road. It's not an easy thing, man. It's really not, and that's why I think there's a shortage in the profession, because it's just not an easy thing. Well, there's certain freedom to it. You're on the road and over the highway, and you get to see a lot of places. Again, just like me when I'm traveling, being in a hotel in Oklahoma City with not a lot of money doesn't allow me a whole lot of time to really enjoy the city the way I could. These guys traveling through, they don't really get a chance to see. They got big rigs. They can't go pull into a little travel tourist destination. They pull into rest stops and eat and move on from there. So, but the other thing I was talking to him about that I thought was really poignant was, Manny is of Mexican descent. He's a naturalized citizen. He's in the country legally, so there's no issues with that. I'm not trying to claim anything with that. But he was in Mexico as a young man, 15 or 16, and we were talking about, being happy with your life and things of that nature. And here's the thing that struck me as I'm getting a better education as to this border and our border patrol. I talked to Greg back in Springfield, who was shot as a border patrol agent. I talked to Nathan just a few towns ago, who was with Department of Interior Bureau of I forget the exact title, but he essentially has to go assist with fires. And he was telling me, and I don't know if I covered this yesterday, how certain parts, the people that are transporting either the drugs or the people into the country would deliberately set a fire, knowing that it would call attention to the fire, and then they could kind of cross over here. And I never realized it was that prevalent, but apparently it's prevalent enough that it's an issue. And then I was talking to Freddy, and he was sharing a story with me how when he first came to one company, it was predominantly white, and nobody talked to him for 3 months, and he didn't bother him, but he'll talk. He's much like me, so I'll talk to anybody who wants to talk to me, but I'm not going to go out of my way if they don't want to talk to me. So he wasn't alluding to racism. It was just he was a different guy in a company, and kind of was I guess sometimes you got to earn your stripes. And being a driver, it's not like you're hanging out all day long. But the thing he shared with me is what we're talking about, family, what got him over to the country. I'm running short on time, so I'm going to probably pick this up a little bit. Essentially, he was 15 or 16 years old, and he's working over in Mexico. And so hear me out now. He's working 12, 13-hour days as a 15 or 16-year-old. You know how much pay he got? $2 a day. $2 a day. So imagine you're a young man that knows someday you're going to grow up and get married and have a family. How do you